3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to a family business podcast where we are going to explore what today, my friends?
Should you be on a team or should you be a solo agent?
Ooh, what a hot topic.
Great question.
Did you guys like my countdown to start this thing off?
You know what I like is that I'm not wearing a t-shirt with a big eye in the middle of it on this podcast.
You are not. And when they're in the final 4 next year, I'm going to request that you do not wear it on the same day that they play.
Banned.
Whatever.
Keep that Iowa shirt on.
Hey, it's a great segue. We're talking about sports. They had a great team, right? So
Yeah.
they could get further together, right? I mean,
No doubt.
what does a solo, like, I'm just curious, this is off topic here, but what does if you're just a solo basketball player, what do you get?
You don't win.
But what do you get? Is there like something competitions for solo basketball players?
No.
Well, there's an award for MVP, but
Yeah.
you know that comes from basically you don't win the MVP if your team's not good. That's
Almost always true.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's a good segue into this.
Love
So,
that.
I think one of the things about this topic is most agents think that it's a personality decision, right? Well, if I'm an independent person, then I should just be a solo agent. If I want help, I'll be on a team, right? But I mean, that's not actually the right question, I don't think. The real question is, what environment or what is it that you need that's going to make you the most money, the fastest, and the least amount of burnout and help you be successful? Would you not agree?
Yeah, 100% on that. And I think everybody's totally different on this too, right? But I would say that most people in the team atmosphere are going to succeed more than they will individually. Now, there's always the ones who that's absolutely not true for. But in general, I really think that if you're on a team, you're going to advance your career quicker. And once you make it to the top, you'll be able to continue on, that you'll have a lot of support around you and more of a team atmosphere.
Well, if you look at the structure of a business, it's most likely not just a single person doing everything, right?
Yep.
There's collaboration. There's certain roles that are assigned to people to, be successful in. So that's part of what you get within a team, right? And even if you are a single agent and you have, just your transaction coordinator, so what? I mean, it's still along the same lines, the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is having been a solo agent, Brad, really for, I don't know, 5 years before I met you? Joined you in the team?
7 years.
7 years. Okay.
Yeah.
But then even I joined you, but I was just being trained and mentored. So I wouldn't even say at that point. And we didn't have a TC. But I mean, the thing is you're literally doing everything, right? I mean, you're the transaction coordinator, you're the marketing department, you're the CEO. It's all your responsibility. And on paper, depending on your setup of who holds your license, if you're with a brokerage or if you're truly just on your own, which I don't know how that would work, but I mean, you keep all your commission right on paper, right?
Right.
On paper's the key
On
phrase
paper.
there.
And would you guys agree, and expect this is more of a question for Andrea, would you agree that the solo agent is more of an outdated mindset that has really changed a lot over the last 15 years?
I just think it's really, really hard to be truly a solo agent. And really in the world that we live in now and all the ways that real estate has changed, I just think it's really hard to be successful. I'm not saying you can't be, but I just think you're making it harder than it needs to be for like more stress and really less return. Because I mean, we talked about this on a previous podcast. Like when you're going to scale, right? Like you're at some point you're going to run out of bandwidth, right? And you when you're in a team model, you have shared resources, you have systems that, hopefully whoever's your team lead or the people that are running that team or put it together have systems that they've already done and proven processes. And so they can be support for you in those. Obviously your split's going to be different depending on what your team offers and what you need, right? Where you're at in your career. But I also think there's something to be said about, like our coach says this all the time, right? Like when you're, I think in a team atmosphere, I thought about this when knowing we were going to do this podcast, like it's like you're all in that boat and you're all rowing together, right?
Yeah.
So can you imagine like if let's say there's this huge ocean you have to cross, right? And you have 10 other people in that boat with you and everyone's rowing and everyone's supporting each other and everyone's helping each other keep rowing versus if you're going to just do that as by yourself.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that is starting to show its true colors is people are getting tired of AI. AI was, about a year or 2 years ago believed to carry that support that maybe a team would provide, right? They're going to streamline your systems. They're going to do the things on the backside that you don't have time for. But people are over that. People are tired of that narrative And they're realizing, again, the human component within everything that we do is far more significant. Whether you're 1 month into the industry or 1 month of getting out of the industry, you're still going to run across the same issues that each person is seeing. And there's always room for support where a human is able to provide a lot more than a computer or AI system. So, again, the narrative of, okay, a sole agent, I'm using AI to support myself, it's getting kind of spread thin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I really think AI is excellent for a lot of things, but when it comes to the human emotional things, it's not there yet. And at some point, maybe, but there's more that goes into it than just all of the facts, right? I mean, it can lay out a great plan, it can do this and that, but like you said, Pete, I mean, there are times when life gets in the way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and I think like the AI is why people sometimes think they can do it on their own, right? But I mean, let's be honest, most agents I don't think are choosing between solo versus team. What they're really choosing is between figuring it out alone, which I guess they think AI is the help for that, versus having a structure and accountability and somebody that can do it with you, right?
Yeah.
So let's kind of break down the pros of being completely solo versus the cons of being solo. So, I mean, obviously we talked about this a little bit. You have full control, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Branding, schedule, decisions. So, you are the one putting in the work to how your marketing is being presented, how your systems are being streamlined. It's all you. It's up to you to put the work in on that side.
Yeah. And I mean, I just go back to it. I mean, there's not a lot of careers where you do things all on your own. I mean, you could argue law maybe is another one where you could be a solo lawyer, but I think most of the times, and I'm supposed to be talking about advantages of being solo, but
You don't
uh,
have to consider anybody else in your decision making process, right? When you're a lawyer, just like you don't if
no.
you're a solo agent, you don't need any approvals.
But going back to that, I mean, most of the top lawyers in the country are in a very good law firm
Right.
that they like put their heads together and they are able to bounce ideas off of each other. But let's go back to the pros. You don't have to ask for permission to do things, and that would be one of them.
Yeah, and you get to keep more per transaction, right?
Mhm.
Like I guess that is it if you're selling,
Sure.
right? Like as long as
Right.
you're producing, right?
Well, and that's, and again, I don't mean to go down this road that we keep on going off on, but at some point, a human's capability is only so much,
Uh-huh.
right? Your scalability is limited. If it's one person, you can't stay up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So again, not to get too far off of that, but sure, yeah, the workload that you can handle, you're potentially having more control over that.
Yeah.
Right. But on the flip side of that, PT, you do have flexibility, right? It's your schedule, right? You can do whatever marketing style you want, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
your
I mean,
business,
you
your
have
way.
nobody telling you how to do things, which I don't know that that's good. And I should be more positive
This is,
about
I
this,
think,
but
really hard for us because I think we
we've been
all,
there.
that is why, but we're going to really try our
Yeah.
best, right? To just
Yeah.
really talk about this, right?
But I would say the biggest thing. Go ahead, PT. Sorry.
Well, no, I think we're all on the same page. The biggest piece of this is the flexibility, right? You
Yeah.
are the one making the decisions. And at some point, you're going to get to that point where you're like, I've already set this amazing thing up. I've put the hard work in for it. Who wants to follow along with me? Whether you're selling your ideas via coaching or so forth, or you're leading a team. So,
Mhm.
there's always the lifespan of a realtor. You most likely, nowadays it's a little bit different, but a couple, I would say, 10, 20 years ago, I mean, this, like you mentioned, you start as a solo agent and you continue on, you have your success, you've put in your time, and you're now sharing it with others. So the flexibility is probably the biggest pro of being a solo agent. It's your decision, you're the decision maker.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and to echo off what you just said, PT, the other thing that people always say too is like, it's me, right?
Mhm.
I'm building my name. I'm not building someone else's. It's me, 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 which is great, right? But I think going back to what you said, okay, but is that really, well, hold on. This is supposed to be a pro. So sorry, you're building your name. It's you. You get the recognition. And
Sure.
so, but I guess the thing that would be the reality check, I feel like, in this is that, I mean, freedom is great. And this is going to get us into the cons, I think, until you realize that, yes, it is all you. It's just your name, your business, but you're also the one that's responsible for everyone.
Yeah, and I really think
And
with
I'm sorry, for
yeah,
everything.
it's kind of the opposite that, we have all this technology, which is great, which allows us to do a lot of things on our own. But I really think the ones that have embraced the team atmosphere to ask other people for help, I mean, those are the ones that keep growing. So I'm supposed to be talking about pros.
No, we're
But
off of pros now. We're
but
on the
last
cons.
deal about pros, which you kind of talked about, is it's identity is a big deal there, right? So you are able to get your name out there and not just the team. I mean, that would be one of the advantages.
And I think we all, I mean, we went through that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, even right now, like Brad's in the process of transitioning, and we've talked about this a little bit on podcast, a little bit of transitioning out of the full-time day-to-day production model. He's still assisting in that, and PT and him are working that together, but not, you know, 100% on him, because he is doing other things for our team and mentoring agents and things like that. But, it's kind of an ego. I mean, really, right? It's pride, it's ego, right? Like, it's hard to be like, it's not your name anymore. It's not you that's getting the recognition. I mean, wouldn't you say that
Yeah. I mean,
that's a hard
that's
thing?
to an extent. And
I'm not trying to call you out, but let's be real.
no, but it's more of an identity thing. I think
Right.
we
Which
just
is
went
also pride.
that's one of the pros, right? So it's an identity thing, is you view yourself as the realtor that sells homes, right? And when you make the transition, that's a little different. But that's a little bit off topic where I'm trying to go. So I will let you guys get it back on here.
Okay, the cons of going solo. Like,
Ooh,
what's the
yeah.
bad part about it,
Oh, we just mentioned it. The great thing about our industry is that there's no ceiling. You get to go as high and as far as you want based on the effort that you put in and the team and structure that you put yourself within, right? So the pros is that, it allows you to be limitless. You can put as many pieces in there to be as successful as possible. So with it being the con is that you're limiting yourself. You're only able to do as much as you're able to basically put day to day in. So it gets tough, right? You have a slower growth curve of growing your business potentially.
Yeah. It's like what you always say, Brad. Like, you want to be, what's the thing? You want to be walking up the mountain. What do you say?
You want to talk to the people that are walking back from where you want to go.
That's right.
And that would be the con of being solo, right? You're doing trial and error on your own, and that's expensive. And we know that
Yeah.
from CRMs that we've talked about in the past that we spent a lot of money on before we found the right one. And there's no shortcut, right, to experience. Like, you have to learn those things on your own, and so I guess being solo, that would be hard. The other thing is, from an income standpoint, you're relying on yourself.
Right.
100%, right?
Yeah. And it can be inconsistent when you're brand new too, right? I mean, and I really think the solo agent deal for a brand new agent is very difficult. And that's probably where the model that we came from, that was really the only option up until the very end. And it still wasn't a viable option to be a team, but that's how we were all kind of trained, was we were all off on our own, and, each individual agent, which makes it harder, I think. Like I always go back to is that if I were a brand new agent, I would either join a team right away, or I would work underneath, which is a team still. I would work underneath a like top agent, so I would be able to learn the business. I think solo agent can work if you're established, and for the very few that started off as a solo agent and they're doing an incredible business, I mean, sure, if you don't want to stop that, that's okay. But I still argue that even if you're extremely successful, if you are a part of a team, that you'll even be more successful.
Well, and I think a big part of that is, and we talked about this, and I say this all the time, when we were solo, and I say solo, you and I solo, we were on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Like, burnout, like, that's the other con of being solo. Like, burnout is a real thing. And I'm not saying you don't get burnt out on a team, but the difference is like, it's 100% on you, right? Like, there's not a person to call if you're sick to go,
Nope.
do a showing for you or help you out. No one's like, if you decide you want to take a vacation for 3 days, 4 days, or you just get in a funk, nobody notices that. I mean, but what does happen if you take a break for 3, 4 days because you're in a funk?
Right.
Your income goes down.
Exactly. And that there's no plan B at the end of the day, right?
Right.
And so everything that Andrew was just saying, there's no back out plan if you just can't move any further. So it raises the risk of burnout and accountability.
Yeah, 100%.
100% agree. So, question, PT, going back to you. Now, you started off, you learned from us, obviously, But, for a year there or so when we had this crazy model going on in our office, which
Can
we
you just
didn't.
pause for a minute? So those of you who might be new to the pod, let's just back this up for just one second to like reference what you're saying. So PT, he interned with us in college. So like when he was considering a career in real estate in the summertime, PT interned with us. And then he luckily, and when we were blessed that he decided he wanted to pursue a career in real estate and that he wanted to stay here in the Quad Cities and continue the family tradition that's he's the fourth generation
Yep.
of realtors in the Quad Cities in the Bowie family. So that's what Brad's referring to. So now you
Yeah.
can go.
So when you started, you worked closely with us, and then we moved into this marketing group slash teams slash I don't know what it was at one time. So when you were off on your own, what was the difference between when you were off on your own and what we have now?
Well, there's two different ways to look at it. There's the feeling that you are alone, right? And that leads to a whole different ball of wax. But, you go out there, you try your hardest, but it's really where the maximum feeling is on the team side.
Yep.
You can have people you can call to ask questions, just be a therapist at any time of the day. Again, going back to what I said originally, like the human connection is so huge. Not only is it going to help with your mental, but allow you to grow and understand one, how other people are being successful
Yeah.
and learn from them. And like Brad always says too, you're asking the questions of people that are coming back from where you want to go. So, always being in the room of people that you want to be like. And that's part of it, right? That's part of your decision of when you're, looking for potentially a team is, hey, where do I see myself at? Who do I see myself being as? And that kind of leads you to where you want to be.
Well,
100%.
yeah, and even watching the agents, like in our organization, we have several brand new agents, right? That have, Abby was on our pod a couple weeks ago, and we have Katie, and we have, we have just Brooke, we have tons of Ashley, just a lot of really stellar agents that are in that their first year to 2 years of their business, and I kind of think about that, and I think about like how many things would they had to figure out on their own, and where would they be right now if they weren't in our environment? Because
Yeah.
I mean, really, like joining a team, when I look at it from the big picture, it's like if we would have had something like what we have
Oh,
available when you and I were, back in the beginning of our career 15, 20 years ago, whatever, I just can't imagine how much quicker we would have grown. It's like it's almost like you're like it's like a time like a what's that time machine? What's the show?
a time warp?
Well, no, like you can
The
jump
hot tub
in and you
time machine. I don't,
yeah, like you jump in
I don't know.
you jump in and you can go forward, right?
Sure.
Sure.
It's almost like what I mean, it just my that's a
Back
pro
to the
for
Future?
me. Yeah, okay. But it's kind of to me, that's what I feel like is a pro, right? I mean, it's like you just get to skip all those years of mistakes. You get to plug into the systems that you already know work, right? Like you're fast forwarding that environment, right?
Yeah, and I think when you're a solo agent, and I am 100% guilty of this. I was 22 years old when I got into the business, and part of the cool part about real estate is that it was you're your own boss, right? And when you're a solo agent, you're your own boss, so you can do whatever you want to. I probably watched too many Cubs games during the day, and all the rest of those things like that. But if I were on a team, or if I were working for one of the top agents, that would have never happened, and I would have got to where I want to go way quicker. That just due to the environment and just having the people push me.
Right. And there's something about having another set of eyes on you
Yep.
or looking over you or expecting something from you. And that does a lot compared to just nothing. Like, there's half the part is your personal drive, but
Yep.
also the others that whether it's your family, whether that's your team that you're providing for. Right. So there's a lot of different whys that come
Yep.
into the formula.
Yeah, right. 100%. I mean, you rise and fall with the level of people around you. The energy of the people is going to help you. You get real time feedback, mentorship. I
Yep.
was thinking
Love it.
about this today, and I know it's gonna drop me down into the cons of a team, but this is the truth, right? So, like Brad and I, everybody knows, like we do our morning walk 1 mile. Then we started to do this new thing, walk and talk 3 days a week. I go to Hot Works or Club Pilates, but I'm not. I was thinking this morning, I'm not getting the results that I want. Like, and I know it's because I'm over 50, my body's changed, the same things don't work for me the way they used to. And I was laying in the hot work sauna this morning stretching, and I was like, God, I mean, do I just need to hire a trainer? Like, do I need to hire someone that's going to like help me figure out what I need? Because here's the thing, and it's just basically what we all just said. Okay, does a trainer cost more money than me just walking outside or just going to a class at Pilates or Hotworks? Absolutely. But I'm probably going to get the results that I want quicker. And I'm probably going to spend less time working out that I do now. So then I'd have more time for other things. So it kind of leads me into, right? One of the cons of joining a team is people like, oh, you're split, right? You're giving up a portion of, money to your team lead or your team or whatever. But I mean, what's the value of that, right?
Well, and I would have to argue, like with splits, I mean, one of the cons, you do hear that a lot. But as I always like to say, if you're on your own and you do 5 deals a year, let's say, okay, I mean, that would be a decent first year, say like 10 deals. If you're on a team, you're going to have so many more opportunities. So say you do 20 deals a year and you did 10 on your own, you're probably going to make about the same amount of money and have all the support there too, right? And grow your business faster, which I always say 0 of 0 0, right? I mean, if you don't sell anything, it really doesn't make any difference. But I really think teams that are properly run, they give you many more opportunities, and especially when you're new.
Absolutely. And there's a price for value too at the
Yep.
end of the day. You know, nothing comes free. And that's the truest thing that will ever be said. There's no such thing as free. So, you're paying for something to improve. And that's part of your scalability. You're adding a system or you're adding the volume of leads that you're putting the work into. So these value pieces are what's allowing you to scale at the end of the day. And that is part of your split and what you have to understand and what you're paying into and getting.
Right. It
Agreed.
goes back to what I just said about having a trainer, because that's the other thing is like, the con of being part of the team is you have less control, right? You're plugging into their systems, their branding, their expectation. It's not always going to be your way. But going back to what I was talking about with a trainer, that's what a trainer is going to do. But at the end of the day, if I want a certain result and I go to that person and I say, hey, I want what you have. Okay, well, then I have to listen to what they say I need to do to get what they have, right? And I think that is something that agents, sometimes have a hard time with. But the bottom line is that that's what you're paying for, right? That's what that value should be. And I will say, like, teams get a bad rap, I feel like, because we had a lot of these. I don't know when it started. What, 10 years ago? These like lead mill teams,
Yeah.
right? What were they called? Rainmaker team. What was the name?
Yeah.
What were they
Mega
called?
teams.
Yeah.
What were they called?
Mega teams. I don't know.
It's something like that. But so I do think you have to make sure that you're getting into an environment where it's not just, I mean, there's teams in our marketplace where it's 50-50 splits and it's just you get a zillion leads, but they're not spending any time actually training you or developing you.
Yeah.
So you're always on that hamster wheel. I think the best team, like if it's just me, is like it should be somebody that's helping you to meet your goals and grow in your business when you're in it, but also you feel confident at some point that you could leave and do your own thing if you
Yeah.
wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And I would even say that if you leave and you do your own thing, make your own team. I mean, it's one of those where the solo agent thing, I mean, I just did it for so long, and that was just the way that you did things back then. And I just like we had a hard time coming up with the advantages of being a solo agent.
Okay, so
Been there, done that.
so let's break this down. So who do we think? I mean, obviously we've just said what we feel like it's the best thing, but who do you think should consider a team?
Everyone.
Yeah.
But, again,
Okay, especially
but yeah, and again, though, it's maybe you're under 5 years within the industry is,
For
is
sure.
probably the first step for sure. Or you're a seasoned vet in that 5 to 10 year window where you're got your business maybe to where you want it to be, but you want to be bigger, right? And you're looking for those pieces to scale. And then, we always talk about it too. Maybe if you're on the backside of your career and you're looking for some more support so you can do the other things in your life that you've wanted to, right? So, that beginning to end kind of section there is probably what I would say.
Yeah, and I really think there are. I mean, I don't want to be so negative on the solo agent thing. I mean, there are.
well, you're going to get there. So, but what are the
Okay,
who are
good.
the people right now? We're talking about people that you think
Yeah.
should consider. So, PT said anybody that's maybe 5 years or
Yep.
less in the business. Maybe someone like he said on the backside of it. So, like you want that support because you don't want to always be doing like. I mean, we have agents that are maybe let's say they're a seasoned veteran and they have a great consistent business, but they don't want to work it anymore, right? So they want
Yeah.
to be in a team environment so they can refer it out and still make income, right?
Yeah, I think too that we've talked about a little bit, but the structure and the accountability part of it, right? When you're on a team, you don't want to let people down. So when you're a solo agent, it's very easy not to show up to stuff that no one's going to hold you accountable. I mean, you might have a broker manager that may mention, but it's not like a team where you literally have other people around you who are trying to hold you accountable in a positive way.
Right. Yeah. And I think I would also say too, if you want faster growth, right?
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
you're going to get there quicker because you don't have to try to figure everything out. You already have people and resources and systems you can plug into. So it will get you there quicker. So who do we think might, if going back to the solo agent, who is it that we think might thrive in that environment versus a team?
Yeah. So going back years, like I said, if I were going to start over again, I would have been on a team or I would have joined
So
one
we're
of the
going to be
top
really
agents.
bad at this. Is this what you're saying?
So no, I mean, a lot of these are what I struggled with for 7 years or so is the accountability part of it. When you joined me, I mean, we were our little mini team, right? So I didn't want to let you down. We were married and the comfort zone part of it wasn't there. And not in a bad way, but in a good way that I wanted to make sure that now I not only had myself, but I also had you and we had goals and all the rest of that, which is like a team, right? Like we all have goals and we want to advance past that. And the players on the team want to do their part.
So basically what you're saying is if you're highly disciplined, right?
Yes.
Then
Absolutely.
you're good as a solo agent. If you have consistent business, you're highly disciplined, you like building things
Yep.
from scratch and you don't want accountability,
Yeah.
then that's what you should do. And I think what the problem is I think in this industry, most agents go solo way too early. I
Yep.
think that they have a few good years under their belt and then they realize, years later that now I have to try to get back to where I was because I just wasted all this time being on my
And
phone, right?
I really think it's doable. I mean, there's agents out there that we know, but that's why I always go back to the 95/5 rule that we had just talked about on a previous podcast is that the reason why is there's so many solo agents out there that try to make it on their own and it's a hard business. And that's why so few of them make it. But I really do think that if more people would jump onto teams early or work for somebody else, that they would have a much longer and more successful real estate career. And even if that means that later on they go on their own, they know how to do it.
I think it's important too to note as well, we make a team sound like it's the Holy Land, Glory Land, whatever you want to say. Like it's the rainbow, the pot of gold at the end of the radio. But you have to show up,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
You
good
have
point.
to put the effort in. It's not just going, oh, I'm on a team, I'm going to get provided all of this stuff and it's just going to work for me. No, these are tools to give you success and make your life easier, right? But it's not just a walk in the park once you join a team. It takes your effort at the
Well,
end of the day.
it's just like having a personal trainer. They can tell me all the things to do, but if I don't do them and I just sit there and listen to him, or I just want to get on a phone call because I don't want to leave my house that day, I'm not going to get the same results, right?
Totally
And
agree.
at the end of the day, it's actually about what works for you, right?
Yep.
As a person, you need to think about the pros and the cons. But I will say, I think the biggest takeaway that I would say, and you guys, is like, I feel like you can always become a solo agent.
Mhm.
But I think it's a lot harder to go backwards and relearn like what you skipped if you missed those steps. And what am I trying to say?
It's
Anybody?
harder to advance forward.
Yeah, it's easier to take a step back
Mhm.
than it is to take a step forward.
For sure.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
Well, here's the deal. If you're trying to figure out this whole scenario in your own business, reach out. We're always open to a conversation. We are happy to help you discern this, having been in all these different situations. I think we have a really good situation going now, but I think it takes work to get to that, right? I think that when we talked about this, like office, team, group, all these things, we had just a combination of all of the above,
Mhm.
solo agents as well. And we're just still trying to figure out what works best. I think we're in a rhythm now. I think we're rowing a boat together. I think we have some people that are really seeing some great results from that. And I think that's what is most important. But again, you might be someone that doesn't need any of that. So hopefully maybe this
Yeah.
podcast helps you to kind of break that down, why you should or shouldn't.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you have any questions, reach out. We'd love to have the conversation. Or if you think that we're completely wrong, share why.
Of course.
And we'll listen.
We'll get some hate mail.
Yeah. Yeah. So the bottom line is that we're not anti-solo agent. It's that
We're not anti-team either.
we've been there.
For whatever is best for
And
you.
we just really feel that for us personally, that the team atmosphere has been much more rewarding.
In the right structure.
and the right
Absolutely.
structure. I agree.
Peace.
Peace.